Hello and welcome to the Media Club podcast. Last month we discussed our thoughts on our phone usage, and today we're going to be discussing our thoughts on adulthood. And before we begin with today's topic, we're going to be introducing our speakers by mentioning our name, grade, school, and answering the question, what is the first thing you want to do when you become an adult? So I'll start first. My name is Yanni. I'm gonna be an 11th grade and I go to Oxford Academy. And the first thing I want to do when I become an adult is buy a house.
My name is Josephine Lee. I'm a sixth grader and I go to Gyeonggi Elementary School. And the first thing I want to do when I become an adult would be having a pet.
My name is Kaylin Kim, and I'm an 11th grader at Sunny Hills High School. And the first thing I want to do when I become an adult is excuse my own absences when leaving early from school.
Hi, my name is Scarlett Ching and I'm a rising sophomore at Sunny Hills. And the first thing I would do when I'm adult is probably sign my own permission slips.
Hi, my name is Rain Han. I'm a ninth grader and I go to year. And the first thing I want to do when I become an adult is to have just my permission to doing a lot of things.
My name is Jamie. I'm a rising senior at Troy High School, and the first thing I'm going to do when I become an adult is just enjoy the fact that I don't need my parents' permission.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a rising senior from Troy High School, and the first thing I want to do when I become an adult is pay for my own PC and build it myself.
My name is Evan. I'm a rising sophomore and I go to Doty Valley High School. And the first thing I want to do when I become an adult is probably also just buy something for myself.
Hi, my name is Edward and I'm a rising junior at Fairmont Prep. And when I become an adult, the first thing I want to do is make my own bank account.
I'm Eunice and I'm a rising junior and I go to Walsall High. I don't really have anything specific yet, but I would also want to make a big purchase.
My name is Lena. I'm a rising 10th grader at Chipico Hills High School. And when I become an adult, I just want to be able to go places on my own.
Yeah, I'll get started on the main question. Do you consider yourself mature or an adult right now?
Okay, so honestly, I think we're not an adult yet, but we're on that sweet spot, like the midpoint between becoming an adult, because I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about the trend where people wear suits to watch the new Minion movie. And if you read about it, it came about because a long time ago when the first Minion movie came out, we all had to ask our parents to watch it at the movie theaters or something. And it was we are a little kid back then. And now we're all grown up and we can buy our own tickets and go watch the mini movies ourselves. And it's pretty cool now that we actually are old enough to do that. So yeah, we're on that cool stage.
I didn't hear about that trend, but yeah, that's really interesting how we all grew up so fast, honestly. I remember watching that movie and begging my parents to watch it again. Yeah, I agree that we're not exactly an adult yet, but we are young adults, so we're gonna get there. The next question is, when do you think you become an adult?
I think that you become an adult when you reach the age of 40 or 50, because even if you're in your 30s or your 20s, when people consider you as an adult, I don't think people become mature enough until you reach the age 40 or 50, because I think you need at least 40 years of experience to say, oh, I'm mature enough, experience that was everything, like childbirth, it's just car accidents, whatever, surgeries. You need at least 40 years.
I agree on that part, but I have to disagree on a set age of 40 because everyone has their different maturity levels. If someone can be very mature at age of 20, let's say your parents kind of let you alone and you have to learn yourself how to be self-sufficient. So let's say at age 20 you're already doing all your taxes and stuff like most people, but let's say you're way more mature than everyone else, then you could possibly be that 40-year-old experienced matured person at the age of 20. So that's something you gotta consider, I guess.
That's interesting because I thought someone would say like the legal age, like 18 or like 21, I guess. 40 is really interesting though.
I feel like becoming an adult is partly like being able to like realize your own mistakes. I feel like because I feel like as you go out through your whole life, you're gonna like keep making mistakes. You don't ever like reach that fully mature point. So I feel like there's no real age. It kind of depends on the person.
Is it just a matter of age? Is everyone who is 18 truly an adult? I feel like we answered that, and it really depends on the type of people we are, and we all mature at a different age.
Oh yeah, I'd like to point out that the number 18 only came because if you guys took a push, there was something called the Vietnam War, and well, they moved the voting age to 18 because all these teenagers were going to fight in the Vietnam War in America. So like this idea of 18 being when you're an adult came about. So I guess it's really just numbers. So there really is no age. I'd agree with that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that either. Is anyone excited to enter adulthood?
I think the perspective of gaining independence in adulthood is really exciting to a lot of people because you're kind of free from your parents and the rules, and you're like on your own, and you could create your own boundaries. I agree. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I agree with that. But I also don't kind of want to because that means like, we're all getting older. So yeah.
Yeah, I also agree. I'm also very excited to get out of like my parents' boundaries, I guess, but I'm also scared to do things on my own. Like for instance, my parents kind of pay for, my gas prices, my phone bills and everything, but when you become an adult, you're gonna have to deal with all that yourself. So that's kind of intimidating and scary.
Yeah, there's good and bad things about being like free from your parents because you can do anything you want basically, but you have the responsibility to take care of yourself fully now and get things done. Do you think being an adult is an easy job?
I don't think being an adult is an easy job because you start to be responsible for many things and you have to keep everything in place. So I don't think it's an easy job.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah. So,
sorry.
yeah, if you think about it, I have many experiences when I'm little. Like, I do something, and then I'm like, oh shoot, what do I do? And I look at my parents, and they're like, oh yeah, I know, and I'm like, thank God. And but then when you grow up, you're gonna be the person where they ask you what to do, and if you don't know what to do, then that's a problem. So yeah, you have to learn from adults and try to, I don't know, act like them and try to be an adult. So the term adult is very debatable, and we don't really know what it is.
Yeah, there's only like a legal age, like specific number wise, but everyone can mature at a different age. Some argue that mandatory service helps individuals become more mature. Would you be okay with requiring all 18-year-olds in America to leave home and give a year to society, either in military or community-based projects like tutoring younger children or working in retirement homes or the inner city?
I personally don't think it should be mandatory because I don't know, like forcing people who don't really want to do something for a year, take like a year out of their lives, making them do something is kind of unfair for them. But I think it would be nice if like, people did actually sign up, and people do sign up for the military in the United States at a high rate. So I think the rate for that would also be really high. So yeah, I think those are great, but it shouldn't be mandatory.
Yeah, I agree with you. It shouldn't be mandatory, but there should be benefits to joining these activities.
I also agree. Like people shouldn't be forced. It'd be nice, but like people shouldn't be forced to do it. So I wouldn't say that it's like good if it's mandatory, but it's a good thing that, like you said, in the U.S. the rates are pretty high.
I think that mandatory service could help with maturity of the younger generations, like dealing with like not military service, but mostly community service, like dealing with tutoring little children and the elderly, because that could help with things like empathy and responsibility.
Yeah, that's interesting. The way you put it, like the way we're gonna be feeling more like empathetic for others, and we're also taking care of the younger and older citizens. Do you think you become independent when you're an adult, like completely?
I think that it's not sort of like an exact point in which you become independent, but it's a gradual transition because um, when you become legally adult at 18, you're obviously going to still need your parents. And I think it's going to take a lot of time to fully gain your independence.
I think that adulthood is defined by being independent, like rather than turning a certain age or you technically I personally believe that you become an adult when you're fully independent.
Why do you think society treats you so differently as soon as you turn 18?
I personally think that they like treat you that you have more like the ability to be responsible and you have the ability to do your own tasks. So I think they treat you differently comparing to the younger generation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people are really focused on like the number, but as we said, like it depends on it depends with everyone because we all mature at different levels.
Specifically, like for job requirements, should your age determine your responsibility level and competence? Like getting a job at a younger age?
Well, it should be considered, but it shouldn't be the main reason because like someone who's a younger age can still be as competent as someone who's an older age, and possibly one of like the only things that could make them less competent is like their lack of experience or if they get overwhelmed easily. But in most cases, younger people can work just as hard as older people.
Okay, so your age, I don't think it correlates to your response level or competence but to a certain point, obviously, because if you're too young, you won't have enough response or like experience and then like education. But when you reach a certain age, that's when it all kind of clicks, I guess. But after that, like if you're 40 or like I don't know, like a younger age, that shouldn't matter because you guys all like after like I don't know 20 or 30, we would probably have like a college education, right? And then some people might have more time to study or not, but age shouldn't be the determining factor of oh this guy's certainly better than this guy because one guy could be like a 30-year-old who graduated from MIT and then this other guy might be a 50-year-old that like I don't know graduate from like community college, and just by looking at age, you're gonna think the 50-year-old's better, but the MIT graduate might have more I don't know intelligence that's useful to the field that they're trying to go for. So yeah.
Yeah, the experience and both like and the education level both determine that factor of responsibility. What are some of the biggest responsibilities when becoming an adult?
I guess the biggest responsibility is that you're basically giving permission to yourself now. Like, your parents aren't giving you consent. You're the one who determines what is right and what is wrong and what you should do and what you should not. So there's like much greater responsibility. For instance, you can get sued once you turn 18 and also you can sue somebody else. So I think that's like, you know, showing how much responsibility that you have.
When you become an adult, you are your own responsibility. You're responsible for taking care of yourself, like owning a home, having enough money to feed yourself, and hygiene, etc.
I think that one of the factors is like responsibility for your own actions and especially your mistakes, because I feel like a lot of people our age blame our mistakes on our age, which is valid, but as you become older, it's harder to do that and pinpoint what the cause of your mistake was.
This one, I think, is an interesting question. When does it become strange for an adult to live with their parents?
I think that it's not strange ever for an adult to live with their parents because everyone has their own reason. Either it may be some monetary trouble, or their parents are sick, or they just like living with their parents and their parents are okay with it. There's like no shame in living for parents. I mean, there's a negative connotation. Like I'm sure there's like a term around that's like really negative about like you living in your parents' basement, but that shouldn't be like you shouldn't be sad that you're living with your parents at an older age. Like that doesn't make sense.
I think it kind of varies. See, if you're like living with your parents, but you're not making any income, so you're like relying on your parents to work when they turn like 80, over 80, or like over the age of retirement, I think that's the point where it's like you really have to move out, and it's like really weird that you're living in living in your parents' house. But if you're contributing to like the money, the rent, the cost of living while you're living at the parents' house, I think that's when it's not weird. It's just wholesome, you know, you just want to live with your parents. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's similar to Jamie's. There are some instances where it is a bit weird to um keep living with your parents, especially if you're not taking care of yourself and you're relying on them to feed you and stuff. Do you think it's right that the minimum age to serve in the military is 18 when we cannot gamble, drink alcohol, or smoke until 21?
I'm just gonna say this. I already say this before, but there's a reason why that's all different. It's again the Vietnam War. So I think that kind of much answers that. It's that if you're old enough to fight in the country, you're old enough to vote. So that's pretty much the only change that happened. They didn't have to change alcohol or anything. So
So you wouldn't change it?
I think it's fine. I don't see any reason to change it now. But yeah.
Okay. And last question. Have you started thinking about your career once you're an adult, and what do you want to accomplish?
I think now that I'm like a rising senior in high school, I really started to like plan things out for myself when I become an adult, like over 21. Like, what would I do after I graduate college? Because honestly, like, you do need to make a plan for your life, or you'll never know what you're doing or what you're working for. So, yeah, that's my response.
Anyone else have plans for the future? I already started thinking a bit about like specific jobs I want to do. And I want to work in like more of the technological fields to help our future.
My dream job is a plastic surgeon.
That's interesting.
I don't really know, but maybe something in like like psychology, maybe cognitive studies.
I'd like to just point out about careers. So let's say most people start thinking about their careers before they hit college, right? Because they're thinking, what do I want to major in? Because that's probably what you want to make your career. But even if you think like, yo, this is gonna be my dream job, and you go into a college major for it, and you're like, let's go, I'm gonna study this, and then suddenly something goes wrong, and you change to something else. That happens a lot. So I know this professor from a long time ago. So let's say again, it's a long time ago. There was something called nuclear engineering, right? But then he was majoring in college, right? He was gonna work as a nuclear engineer, but then all of a sudden the U.S. government was like, so nuclear technology, nuclear reactors are now we're decreasing usage of it, and then that job got cut, so he can't major in nuclear engineering anymore. So he had to change what he wanted to be. So he became like a sound engineer. So you don't always get what you want in the end, but it's still cool if you still in college, then you can change your career path. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people like take the classes and actually look at what exactly their job is, and then they realize, oh wait, I actually don't want to get into this job. Or there's a different situation where they couldn't get into a class and did something else, but found out that it was more interesting than what they originally wanted to do. So yeah, just expect the unexpected. How do I conclude